The first thing Derek Caldwell noticed was the smell. It drifted into the marble lobby of First Harbor Bank like it didn't belong, like a stain on a white shirt. A few customers turned their heads. A woman in a designer coat pressed her purse tighter against her side. A security guard's posture stiffened. Derek didn't even have to look up from the glass-walled office overlooking the floor to know what had walked in. He'd spent 20 years building this place into a machine. Quiet, polished, profitable. People came here to feel safe about their money. They came here to feel important. And Derek, in his tailored charcoal suit and silver cufflinks, was the man who made that feeling possible. He stepped out of his office with the controlled impatience of someone who believed the building obeyed him. That's when he saw her. She stood near the velvet rope that guided customers to the teller line. She looked maybe 10 or 11, too small for the oversized hoodie hanging off her shoulders. Her jeans were stiff with dirt, and her sneakers were split at the toes. Brown hair fell in tangled ropes around her face. Her cheeks were smudged. Her lips were cracked. But what made Derek's jaw tighten wasn't her clothes. It was what she was holding. A thick, cream-colored envelope, sealed, official-looking, gripped in both hands like it was the only thing in the world keeping her upright. She glanced around at the tall columns, the security cameras, the polished floors reflecting the overhead lights. Her eyes were wide, but not with awe. With fear. Derek walked over. Each step echoed, and the lobby got quieter with every footfall. The girl's gaze flicked up to him, then down again. "Can I help you?" Derek asked, though his tone made it clear the answer was supposed to be no. The girl swallowed. I need to see someone. It's important." Derek's eyes slid to the envelope. "You have an appointment?" She shook her head quickly. "No, sir, but this is for the manager." "I am the manager." Her shoulders tightened like she expected to be hit. She extended the envelope with both hands. "It's for you," she whispered. Derek didn't take it. He studied her for a long, cold second. Her dirty fingernails, the bruise blooming on one wrist, the way her stomach seemed hollow beneath the hoodie. He'd seen people like her outside. He'd learned to look through them. They were unpredictable. They caused scenes. They made customers uncomfortable. And in Derek's world, discomfort was expensive. "Where did you get that?" he asked. The girl hesitated. "A lady gave it to me. She said I had to bring it here. She said it was my last chance." "A lady," Derek repeated, unimpressed. "Yes, she wore glasses, like big ones. And she had a folder and—" "Enough." Derek glanced around. 2 tellers were watching. 3 customers were openly staring. The security guard had already taken 2 steps closer. Derek lowered his voice, sharp as a blade. "You can't come in here like this. You're disturbing customers." Her eyes flashed with panic. "No, please. I'm not trying to. I have to give it to you. I walked a long time." Derek's patience snapped. "Security," he said, without looking away from the girl. The guard approached. "Sir?" Derek pointed, his finger cutting the air between them. "Escort her out." The girl's eyes widened. "No, please. You don't understand. My name is Lily. I don't care what your name is," Derek said, loud enough for the lobby to hear. "This is a bank, not a shelter. Take your whatever this is and leave." The guard gently reached for her elbow, but Lily jerked back like his touch burned. "I have the letter," she pleaded. "Just take it. Just read it." Derek leaned closer, his voice low, cruel, and controlled. "Little girl, people walk into banks with fake stories every day. If I let every stray off the street hand me an envelope, I'd have nothing but scams and complaints. Now go." Lily's lower lip trembled. Tears gathered, shining in the harsh lobby lights. Then, as if she'd made a decision, she shoved the envelope forward again. Derek's hand shot out, not to take it, but to push it away. The envelope slipped from her fingers and fell to the marble floor. It landed with a soft slap that somehow sounded louder than any shout. And in that moment, everyone saw something. a red wax seal, an embossed logo, the name First Harbor Bank printed in the corner. This was not something a child had made with crayons. Derek's eyes narrowed. The security guard bent to pick it up, but Lily dove for it first, clutching it to her chest like it was a living thing. "Please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "If you don't read it, I have nowhere to go." The lobby went so quiet Derek could hear the hum of the air conditioning. Something about that sentence, something about the way she said it, pricked at him. Not compassion, annoyance. It sounded like responsibility. And Derek Caldwell hated responsibility when it came in messy forms. He straightened his suit jacket, turning his face into stone. "I'm done with this," he said. "Get her out." The guard took Lily by the elbow again, firmer this time. Lily clutched the envelope with both hands, but the guard guided her toward the revolving doors. She twisted her head back, eyes locked on Derek. "You're making a mistake," she said, barely audible. Derek didn't answer. The doors swallowed her, and just like that, the lobby breathed again. Conversations resumed. Customers looked away, relieved. Derek turned and walked back toward his office, already telling himself it was the right call. But as he passed the security guard station, something caught his eye. A small smear on the marble, a drop of blood. Derek paused. He stared at it for a second too long. Then he kept walking. Because men like Derek Caldwell didn't let little drops of blood interrupt their day. Or so he thought. That afternoon, Derek's assistant, Madison, stepped into his office holding a tablet. "Mr. Caldwell," she said carefully, "we just got a call from the front desk. There's a situation outside." Derek didn't look up from his email. "If it's another protest, tell them we have no comment." "It's not a protest," Madison swallowed. "It's the girl from earlier." Derek's jaw tightened. "What now?" "She's sitting on the curb. She looks not well. A couple employees are worried. Someone offered to call CPS, and she said no. She keeps asking for you." Derek exhaled slowly through his nose. "Of course she does." Madison hesitated. "She's bleeding. I think she cut her hand, and she keeps holding that envelope, like she won't let anyone near it." Derek's fingers stopped moving over the keyboard. For a brief moment, he saw that smear of blood again. "Fine," he said, pushing his chair back. "I'll handle it." He rode the elevator down with irritation simmering beneath his calm face. The doors opened, and the cold winter air hit him as he stepped outside. The city street was loud. Buses, horns, footsteps. But there she was, small and hunched, sitting near the bank's granite steps. Lily held the envelope against her stomach. One hand was wrapped in the sleeve of her hoodie, and dark red spots had soaked through the fabric. When she saw Derek, she tried to stand, but she swayed. Derek's instincts were sharp. "Sit," he ordered. She dropped back down, breathing hard. "What do you want?" Derek asked. Lily looked up at him. Her eyes were exhausted but stubborn. "You didn't even touch it," she said. Derek glanced at the envelope. Up close, the seal was clearer. Official. Real. He held out his hand. "Give it to me." Lily flinched. "You'll just throw it away." "I'm not throwing it away," Derek lied. She stared at him for a long second, then slowly extended the envelope. Her fingers were trembling. Derek took it. The paper felt heavier than it should. He turned it over. His name was typed neatly across the front. Derek Caldwell, Branch Manager, First Harbor Bank. Under it was a second line, personal and urgent. Derek's throat tightened. He looked at Lily again. "Who gave you this?" "A lady," Lily repeated. "She said she used to work here." "She said she couldn't bring it herself." "Name?" "I don't know," Lily said, voice cracking. "She just said, if you don't read it, I lose everything." Derek's eyes narrowed. "Why you?" Lily swallowed. "Because I'm the one it's about." That sentence hit Derek like a shove. He should have laughed. He should have dismissed it. But something about the way Lily held herself, like she'd practiced bravery because fear was all she'd ever known, made Derek's skin prickle. He slid a finger under the seal. Lily's gaze locked onto his hands. Derek broke the wax. He pulled out a single letter on heavy paper. And as his eyes scanned the first line, his face changed. Not anger. Not annoyance. Shock. Because the letter began with words he hadn't heard in over a decade. Dear Derek, if you're reading this, it means you did what you always do. Judge first, ask questions later. Derek's heart thudded. He knew that voice. Even on paper. He read on, faster now. My name is Elaine Parker. I was the bank's senior attorney before I disappeared. Derek's mouth went dry. Elaine Parker. A name buried under years of memos and board meetings. A name that had once filled headlines. Because Elaine Parker had vanished the night she was supposed to finalize the bank's biggest internal restructuring. Because her disappearance had nearly destroyed First Harbor. And because Derek Caldwell had benefited from it. The letter continued. I'm dying, Derek. There's no gentle way to write that. I'm leaving behind one person who matters more than the bank ever did. Her name is Lily Parker. Derek's eyes snapped to the girl. Lily. She stared at him, her face pale as if bracing for impact. Derek looked back at the letter. Lily is not just my daughter. She is the legal heir to the Parker Trust, the controlling shares that founded First Harbor Bank. Derek's hands went cold. The Parker Trust, the founding family's money, the shares that decided who sat at the top, shares the board had spent years trying to locate after Elaine vanished. Derek's breath caught. He read on, a pulse roaring in his ears. I kept her hidden because I knew what this bank does to people who stand in its way. I knew what you did to me. Derek's stomach twisted. The letter trembled in his grip. I'm sending Lily to you because I'm out of time. But make no mistake, if anything happens to her, my attorney has instructions to release every document I kept, every bribe, every forged signature, every lie, including your name. Derek's vision blurred. Outside, the traffic noise faded. The world narrowed to the paper and the child sitting in front of him. Lily watched his face, like she was reading him the way he was reading the letter. Derek forced himself to keep going. The trust can only be claimed if Lily delivers this letter and the accompanying documents to the branch manager in person. If Derek Caldwell refuses her, the trust transfers to the state. Derek's heart slammed. He read that line again, slower. If Derek Caldwell refuses her. His mind raced. All he could think about was the moment in the lobby. The way he'd said, I don't care what your name is. The way he'd ordered her out. Had he refused her? Derek's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Lily's voice was small. Am I too late? The question was so soft it could have been the wind. Derek stared at her. In that instant, he didn't see dirt. He saw power. Not the kind that came with a suit and an office. The kind that came with truth and leverage. He swallowed hard. No, he said finally. You're not too late. Lily's shoulders sagged with relief, and for the first time, Derek realized how close she was to collapsing. Where are your parents? Derek asked, his voice changing despite himself. Lily's eyes dropped. My mom is the lady. She's sick. She couldn't come. And your father? Lily hesitated. I don't know. She never said. Derek looked back at the letter as if it might answer. At the bottom, Elaine had written one more paragraph, and that paragraph detonated everything Derek believed he knew. Derek, you always wanted the bank. You always wanted the Parker legacy. Here's the truth you buried. Lily is yours. Derek's knees nearly buckled. The air felt too thin. He stared at Lily, really stared, and saw it. The shape of her eyes, the curve of her mouth, the stubborn line of her chin. He'd seen that chin in the mirror every morning. His voice came out like a whisper. What did she tell you about me? Lily blinked. Nothing, just that you were the only one who could make it right. Derek's throat burned. He remembered Elaine, brilliant, relentless, too moral for the people above her. He remembered late nights, whispered arguments, a mistake he'd spent years pretending didn't exist. He remembered the meeting where Elaine confronted him with evidence of fraud. Evidence Derek had helped hide. Evidence that would have ruined him. And then Elaine disappeared. The bank called it tragedy. The board called it an unfortunate distraction. Derek called it luck. But luck didn't sit on the curb in a dirty hoodie. Luck didn't bleed through a child's sleeve. He looked down at Lily's hand. "Let me see that." She pulled back instinctively. "I'm not going to hurt you," Derek said, and realized he meant it. Slowly, Lily unwrapped her sleeve. A deep cut ran across her palm, angry and red. Derek's chest tightened. "How did you do this?" "I fell," she said. "I didn't want to drop the letter." Derek closed his eyes for half a second. Of course she didn't, because unlike him, she'd held on to what mattered. He took off his suit jacket without thinking and draped it around her shoulders. Lily stiffened, confused. Derek stood, scanning the entrance. A few employees hovered inside, watching. "Madison!" he called. His assistant rushed out. "Get my car," Derek said. "Now, and call an urgent care. Tell them we're coming." Madison stared at Lily, then at the envelope and the broken seal in Derek's hand. "Yes, sir," she said, and hurried away. Lily looked up at Derek like she couldn't understand why the man who'd humiliated her an hour ago was now moving like her life depended on it. Derek crouched to her level. "Lily," he said carefully, as if the name itself was fragile. "I'm going to take you somewhere warm. Then we're going to talk, okay?" Her eyes filled again, but this time the tears didn't look like defeat. They looked like exhaustion finally letting go. "Okay," she whispered. Derek helped her to her feet. She wobbled and he steadied her with a hand at her back. The revolving doors opened. Inside, customers stared. This time, Derek didn't care. He walked Lily through the lobby like she belonged there. Because, according to the letter, she did. And because every person watching needed to understand one thing. The rules had just changed. In the car, Lily sat in the back seat wrapped in Derek's jacket like it was armor. Derek sat up front, gripping the steering wheel with knuckles white. His mind was a storm. If the board found out, if the press found out, if the authorities found out what Elaine had hinted at, bribes, forged signatures, Derek's career wouldn't just end. It would implode. And Lily would be at the center of it. When they reached urgent care, Derek paid cash. No questions asked. He watched a nurse clean Lily's wound, stitch it, and bandage it. Lily didn't cry. She just stared at the envelope in her lap like it might vanish if she looked away. Afterward, Derek drove them to a quiet diner off a side street, one of the old places that still served coffee in thick mugs and didn't ask why a little girl wore a man's suit jacket. They sat in a booth. Derek ordered food Lily barely touched. Finally, Derek placed the letter on the table between them. "Do you know what this means?" he asked. Lily shook her head. "It means I'm supposed to have a home." The simplicity of that answer cracked something in Derek. "A home," he repeated. Lily's gaze flicked up. "Is it true? Am I really the heir?" Derek swallowed. "According to this, yes." "And the other part?" Lily asked quietly. Derek's chest tightened. "What other part?" Lily fidgeted with the edge of the bandage. "That you're my dad." The word hung between them. Dad. Derek had never been called that, not by anyone. He forced himself to meet her eyes. "I didn't know," he said. Lily studied him as if trying to decide whether that was a lie. Derek continued, voice lower. "Your mother and we worked together, a long time ago. I made choices I'm not proud of." Lily's brow furrowed. "Did you hurt her?" The question was direct, childlike, and devastating. Derek's throat tightened. I hurt her by protecting myself. Lily looked down. Derek leaned forward. Where is she now? Lily hesitated. A room, like a motel. She didn't want anyone to find us. Why? Lily's voice trembled. She said powerful people get scared when they might lose money. Derek closed his eyes. Elaine knew. She had always known. Derek opened his eyes again. Lily, listen to me. I'm going to find your mom. We're going to get her help. And you're not going back to the street. Lily's face didn't brighten the way Derek expected. Instead, she looked suspicious. Why? She asked. Derek blinked. Why what? Why are you being nice now? Lily's voice was small, but it carried a hard truth. You were mean before. Everybody is mean before they know something. Derek felt the words hit like punches. Because she was right. Because he had been mean before he knew. And the sick part was, Derek had changed because the letter made her valuable. Not because she was a child, not because she was bleeding, but because she was his. And because she could ruin him. Derek stared at his coffee, the surface trembling slightly from his hand. He could lie. He could say, I'm nice because it's the right thing. But Lily had lived too much life to believe easy lines. So Derek did something he hadn't done in years. He told the truth. Because I was wrong, he said. And because I've been the kind of man who only listens when something threatens him. Lily watched him. Derek continued, voice rough. But you're not a threat, Lily. You're a person, and I treated you like you weren't. Lily's eyes glistened. You embarrassed me, she whispered. Derek nodded, shame flooding his face. I know, and I'm sorry. Silence. Then Lily asked, Will you do it again? Derek's stomach twisted. I don't want to. That's not an answer, Lily said, surprising him. Derek almost smiled. Almost. You're right, he said. I can't promise I'll never mess up, but I can promise I will try. And when I mess up, I will admit it. Lily studied him for a long moment. Then she slid the envelope across the table. Not to threaten him, to trust him. Derek's breath caught. That night, Derek used the information in the letter to locate Elaine. The motel was on the edge of the city, the kind of place people stopped noticing. He knocked. The door opened just a crack. A woman's face appeared, pale, thinner than Derek remembered, but unmistakable. Elaine Parker. Her eyes widened when she saw him. Not with love, with anger, with history. Then her gaze dropped to Lily standing beside Derek. Elaine's expression shattered. My baby, she whispered. Lily ran into her arms. Derek stood there, frozen, watching the reunion like an outsider at his own life. Elaine looked up over Lily's shoulder, eyes burning into Derek. You read it, she said. Derek nodded. Elaine's smile was bitter. And now you understand what it feels like to be powerless for once. Derek swallowed. Elaine, you're sick. We can get you help. Elaine let out a soft laugh that sounded like pain. Help? From the bank? From you? Derek flinched. Elaine stepped aside, letting them in. The room was small, filled with pill bottles and paperwork. On the bed was a second folder, thick, organized. Derek knew exactly what it was. Insurance, Elaine said, following his gaze. Every document that proves what you and the board did, I kept it safe. For Lily. Derek's voice was low. Why didn't you turn it in sooner? Elaine's eyes flashed. Because I didn't trust the system that protects men like you. And because I had to keep my daughter alive. Derek nodded slowly. He couldn't argue. Elaine sat on the edge of the bed, breathing hard. Lily climbed beside her. Elaine stroked Lily's hair, then looked at Derek again. You kicked her out, Elaine said. Derek's face burned. Yes. And you humiliated her. Yes. Elaine's jaw tightened. Then why did you come back? Derek looked at Lily, then back at Elaine. Because I read the letter, he admitted. Elaine's eyes narrowed. So you only care now because she's valuable. Derek's chest tightened. He could deny it. but the truth was uglier. He took a step forward. At first, yes. I panicked. I thought about my job, my reputation. Elaine scoffed. Derek continued anyway. Then I looked at her hand. She was bleeding because she refused to drop a piece of paper I wouldn't even touch. His voice cracked, and I realized I've been a coward. Elaine stared at him, searching. Derek took a breath. I can't undo what I did, but I can choose what happens next. Elaine's eyes flicked to the folder of evidence. Derek followed her gaze. I'm going to resign, he said. Elaine's eyebrows lifted. Derek spoke faster, like if he didn't say it now, he'd lose the courage. I'm going to cooperate with an investigation. I'm going to tell the truth about what happened back then, about the fraud, about the pressure, about my part. Elaine's face hardened. And you think that fixes it? No, Derek said, but it protects her. He looked at Lily. And it's the first honest thing I've done in years. Lily watched him with cautious hope. Elaine's shoulders sagged, and for a second, the anger melted into exhaustion. You want to be her father now? Elaine asked. Derek swallowed. If she'll let me, if you'll let me, but I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to do something right. Elaine's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. You don't deserve her, she whispered. I know, Derek said. Silence. Then Lily, small and brave, spoke into the space between them. I don't want a lot, she said softly. I just want people to stop looking at me like I'm trash. Elaine pulled her close. Derek's throat tightened, because that was the moral staring him in the face. People didn't become worthy when you discovered their last name. They were worthy before. Derek had simply been too blinded by money to see it. In the days that followed, everything unraveled. Derek resigned publicly. The board panicked. Investigations began. News trucks swarmed the bank steps. And Lily, once the dirty child nobody wanted in the lobby, was now escorted by lawyers and social workers, her inheritance verified, her identity protected. But the most important change didn't happen on the news. It happened in quiet moments. Derek sitting beside Lily in a small apartment he rented near the hospital. Derek learning how she liked her pancakes. Derek holding her hand when she woke from nightmares. And Derek, every day, remembering the moment he'd pointed at her and ordered her out. Not as a story he could laugh about, as a warning. Because the twist wasn't that the homeless girl was rich. The twist was that Derek's cruelty had been aimed at his own blood. And it took a letter, proof, money, power, for him to finally look at a child and see a human being. So if there's a lesson in Derek Caldwell's downfall and Lily Parker's rise, it's this. Be careful how you treat people when you think they can't do anything for you. Because their value was never tied to what they could give you. And one day, the person you dismiss might be the one holding the truth that changes everything.